after the sister-brother relationship came to fruition. I am 5 years older than Leo, so when he was 28, I was already 33. He once told me that age would never be a problem between us. But later he said to his childhood friend, I don't know why. Once Sylvia turned 30, I felt that she was a little dirty. Later, he found a lover who was 3/4 like me. He gave his love to me and his sex to her. He thought he was perfect. Until I handed over the divorce agreement. I smiled and said to him, in fact, there is a particularly big advantage of dating and marrying a sister. That is, the sister can afford to play and lose. Sometimes a woman's sixth sense is so sharp. When Leo was taking a shower in the bathroom, a call came in on his mobile phone. It was a local number, and there was no call notification. I answered it. I said, hello, twice and asked, who is this? The other end of the phone didn't say a word and hung up directly. It was just a few seconds of silence, as if it was a tacit understanding. The other party knew who I was, and I also realized that it was unusual, so I unlocked Leo's phone. I found the person in his social software through that phone number. It was a girl, with a softened cute anime avatar, nicknamed Xiao Tao Z, no notes, and set to do not disturb messages. Their dialogue box was very clean. There was only one unread message, I miss you. Just these 4 words. My heart shrank. I think Leo is likely to have cheated. The hand holding the phone suddenly became weak and powerless. I clicked into the girl's circle of friends. The cover should be her own photo, with a bald head, pouty lips, and a youthful atmosphere. She is really beautiful. I didn't look closely. I just took out my phone and took a photo. There are a lot of content in her circle of friends. I quickly flipped through it, and then stopped at one of them. She said, I only want $199 for the transfer, not one more. Below is a screenshot. Screenshot of her chat with Leo. Note, Princess Breeder. She asked Leo, where is the $199 you promised me? Leo transferred 20. She confiscated it and returned it. I only want $199. Leo replied with a string of ellipses, but still transferred this amount to her. She said, do you know what $199 means? It means I want to be with you forever. I had no expression on my face and took a photo to keep. After exiting the girl's circle of friends, I went into Leo's bill. I checked all their transfers, one after another, from top to bottom. I couldn't even get to the end. The most fixed large amount was the $50 transfer at the beginning of each month. It lasted for 3 months. In addition, there were countless transfers of 10, 200, and 1, 200, including some special numbers, 199, 520, 1314. I took a photo of each one to keep. I was very calm throughout the whole process. I even remembered to mark their chat window as unread when I exited. What's wrong? What are you daydreaming about? Leo came out of the bathroom and asked me strangely while wiping his hair. I looked up at Leo. He only wore a bath towel. With broad shoulders and narrow muscles, Leo has always maintained a good figure. Some people envy me for this. Just for his appearance. As long as he didn't kill or set fire. What can't be forgiven? What's more, he is so devoted to you. I always thought Leo was devoted to me. But now it seems that I just thought. By the way, someone called you just now and hung up without saying a word. If you don't read it, it's probably a harassment call. Don't worry about it. Leo took the phone with a natural expression. He threw the towel for wiping his hair into the dirty clothes basket and picked up the cigarette box on the table. I'm going to the balcony to smoke a cigarette. Because I don't like the smell of cigarettes. Leo always goes to the balcony to smoke. It turns out that he didn't really go there to smoke. After a while, Leo walked in. He said to me while changing his clothes, Wife, I'm going out for a while. I have something urgent to do. You don't have to wait for me tonight. What's wrong? Brother Hai's machine has a problem. I don't know if it's his bad luck. It was fine when he was debugging, but it either had a distorted screen or crashed when it came to him. I have to go over and take a look. If it's too late, I'll stay there and won't come back. Will Mr. Shu go with you? Yes. There are facts, evidence, and even witnesses. I nodded. Be careful. 3 Leo left in a hurry. I stared at the wedding photos on the wall for a long time. I really don't understand. Why did Leo cheat? And that girl? Who is she? Her appearance. Her financial dealings with Leo. Those friends circle. One by one flashed in my mind. Suddenly, I caught something. I hurriedly took out my phone. I've seen this girl, for that was about half a year ago. Leo was taken to the police station for fighting. I went to bail him out. His condition was okay, with only a scratch on his cheekbone. But he was in a very bad state, with a fierce look and full of hostility. It can be said that, except for his adolescence, I haven't seen Leo like that for a long time. He beat the other person so badly that he was bruised and swollen. At first glance, he was deadly. The other party shouted for apology and compensation. Leo sneered. If he hadn't been pulled by me, he would have rushed up. After the matter was settled, I took him away. A girl in work clothes rushed up. I said to Leo with many thanks, Sir, if I hadn't met you today, I really don't know what would have happened. Really, thank you so much. I was stunned and looked at Leo. He was full of impatience. I advise you to change your job quickly. The girl looked bitter. If there was no other way, I wouldn't. Leo's expression became more irritable, and he interrupted the girl rudely. It has nothing to do with me. Whatever you want. Wendy accompanied me, that day. When Leo shook off the girl and walked forward with big strides, she grabbed me and said, Don't you think that girl is 30 similar to you? I laughed dumbly and thought she was overthinking. But I couldn't help but look back at the girl twice. The picture in my memory overlapped with the photo in front of me. It was her. 5 Leo didn't come back all night. The next time he came back was the next night. He brought me a spicy hot pot. It's your favorite one. We waited in line for a long time. You eat first. I'm going to take a shower. Okay. Leo went to the bathroom. I took the spare key and the packaging box and went directly to the underground garage. The car had been washed and was spotless. The copilot was adjusted to the position I was used to. There seemed to be nothing unusual. But these were not the focus of my attention. What I wanted to see was the dash cam. I checked all the surveillance videos from yesterday to today. Leo drove to the university in the south of the city. He called the girl and said 2 words. Get down. The girl jumped up to the passenger seat. Kissing sounds. Panting sounds. Did you touch that old woman? Shut up. Did you touch her? Leo's voice was hoarse and full of lust. What do you think? The girl was proud. All mine. Don't beg for mercy later. The speed of the car showed the driver's eagerness. Just in a community near the school, the car stopped. The surveillance camera showed the picture again. At 10 o'clock the next morning, only Leo was there. The video screen played quietly. I sat in the car stiffly. My muscles were so tight that they hurt. I raised my hand to cut off the picture, and the phone rang inside. Where are you? Why haven't you come yet? On the way. TSK. Being late for so long is not your style. You won't go to find your little peach again. Leo said hung. Ethan seemed a little speechless. No. Your frequency is too high. Are you serious? Leo chuckled. What do you mean by real? What do you mean by fake? Don't pretend. I thought you were just playing around. How did it develop into a long-term relationship? Don't you love Sister Sylvia to death? Why did you suddenly cheat? This question seemed to stump Leo. After a long time, he spoke. Sylvia is 33. Then, what? I don't know why. Once she turned 30, I felt that she was a little dirty. 6 How long has Leo not touched me? I thought while smoking. It seems to have started half a year ago. During that time, my work became busy. In order to get promoted, I worked overtime and stayed up late. Every day when I got home, I just wanted to sleep. Leo hugged me and wanted to kiss me. I pushed him away. Stop it. I'm too tired. Maybe next time. The first time, Leo didn't care, and even felt sorry for me. The second time, He was not very happy, but he still held back his temper. The third time, he got angry and slammed the door and walked out. Later, I found him in a bar. I also realized that this was not good. So I hugged his neck and accepted his fierce kiss. That time was not good. I even felt pain. Leo also noticed it and dented it in a hurry. That night, he turned his back to me and didn't turn around to hug me for the first time. I was helpless. I didn't know how to solve it, and I didn't know how to coax him. But he took the lead to coax himself. He said it was his problem. He was too anxious. Don't think too much. Don't take it too hard. When you are done, we will go traveling. I thought the problem was solved. He is still good to me. Even if he no longer hugs me when he sleeps. Even if we haven't had sex for half a year. But he is good to me. But now he said that he thinks I am dirty. This word, from the time I heard it to now, I will feel cold all over whenever I think of it. The hand holding the cigarette was shaking. The ash fell on my hand, burning and painful. But it was far less painful than the one word. 7 Leo called me and asked me where I was and why I hadn't come back yet. I said I went downstairs to throw away the garbage and would come back in a while. He said then I'll go to bed first. When I went upstairs, Leo was already sleeping hot, facing the left side, leaning against the edge of the bed, leaving most of the space for me. I didn't go up, just sat on the edge of the bed. I stared at Leo's back all night. The year I met him, he was 18 years old and was admitted to this city. The rebellious teenager ran away after receiving the admission letter, without the help of his parents' application, without taking any luggage, just a backpack. His brother was worried about him, so he asked me for help and asked me to pick him up at the station. He had no money on him, and the school hadn't opened yet. Let him stay at your place for a while. The boy is very stubborn. If he says or does something that makes you unhappy, just beat him up. I think Ryan is sick. Even if he is a half-grown boy, I can't let him live with me. I have already rented another house for him, but he is too pitiful and too well-behaved. When I went to the station to pick him up, he squatted under a big tree, holding his bag, like an abandoned puppy. He went home with me obediently. Before I asked him to move out, he had already pulled my sleeve and started to play the victim. Sister, I'm very obedient. I cook for you and clean the house for you. Don't chase me away. I was amused and felt that he just said what he wanted. But he really cooked for me every day and rode a small electric scooter to pick me up from work. Because of his appearance, my lonely rental house became. The daily commute to get off work didn't seem so hurried. We lived under the same roof for a month. Later, I also packed his luggage and sent him to school. At first, I thought it was just a short time together. But later he told me that he was admitted to that university for me. He said he met me once when he was 16. From then on, all his expectations were on me. This man, when he was still a boy, came to me with a sincere heart. I fell, but now he wants to take it back. I must quickly climb out of the quagmire. I want a divorce. Leo cheated. What? Wasn't he on a business trip? I chuckled. He went on a business trip with his lover. It was early in the morning, and my 3 sentences directly knocked Wendy out. Wait a minute. Let me sort it out. Are you saying that Leo cheated on his wife, and his so-called business trip was to accompany his lover? How did you know? I threw the phone to Wendy, and it had Diana and Leo dragging the luggage in one hand and holding her in the other. She said happily, "Let's elope." In fact, I just added her with the mentality of giving it a try, but I didn't expect that she really accepted it. As for whether she knew that it was me who added her, it didn't matter. I said to Wendy that I would be on a business trip for 3 days, and I could get the divorce agreement after 3 days. Wendy looked grim. I will draft it for you personally. I nodded and told her, don't tell Ethan. Wendy is Ethan's wife. It is said that it is not easy for them to be together. I also met her through Leo. I didn't expect that we became good friends after a few visits. Fate is a wonderful thing. Some people are still as close as ever, while others are still as close as ever. I know. Don't worry. Actually, what's wrong? Wendy hesitated and finally shook her head. Nothing. Let's talk later. How are you? I refused and sighed with a wry smile. I have a flight at 1000. And I have to go on a business trip too. This is the world of adults. You have to make time for sadness. I have the photos I took from Leo's phone, the surveillance backup, and the property details under our names. The only thing to be thankful for is that we don't have children yet. Wendy is very efficient. She had already drafted a divorce agreement on the afternoon I came back from my business trip. Even if he is the party at fault, it is impossible to make him leave the house empty-handed. But I will try my best to help you get the greatest benefit. I opened my mouth. Wendy interrupted me. Don't say you don't want it. He is the one at fault, so he should make compensation, including what he gave to the mistress. It can all be recovered. He made a mistake. No. I smiled and hugged her. Yes. I didn't say I don't want it. Wendy. Thank you. She patted my back gently. It's no big deal. Just a divorce. I'll accompany you. Wendy accompanied me to drink glass after glass of whim that night. We talked a lot. Talked about the past, the future, expectations, and regrets. Until we both got drunk and fell asleep on the carpet. The next morning I was woken up by the alarm clock. I took a day off and put on light makeup. Even if I was not in good condition, I had to go out. I was going to see Leo. 9 Thanks to Diana's desire to share, I got first-hand resources for her and Leo's entire itinerary in these 3 days. They rode roller coasters, soaked in hot springs, and bungee jumped. These were all things I had never accompanied Leo. He likes excitement and the feeling of adrenaline bursting, but I can't stand those. He begged me to go bungee jumping with him. The two-person kind. He said it was romantic. I even wanted to take a set of wedding photos like that. But I stood on the bungee platform, but never took that step. Leo said it was okay, but I know he was disappointed. Actually, think about it. Leo and I have too many incompatibilities. When we were overwhelmed by love, we all said that love can overcome all difficulties. Now it seems that someone lied. When Leo came out, he was wearing sunglasses and his expression was indifferent. Beside him, Diana took his arm and kept talking. She walked briskly, with a bright smile on her face, and she was cute and lovely. Let's go there next time, okay? On your birthday. This is the first one since we got together. Leo. I raised my hand and called out, in a loud voice. Diana probably didn't hear it and continued to talk. But Leo stopped. He pushed Diana away and turned to look at me hastily. At that moment, I thought I was a fled beast. Facing me. Diana was still panicking. She stood there timidly, wanting to get close to Leo, but she didn't dare. It was quite pitiful. Leo calmed down quickly. He said to Diana, "You go first." Diana looked up at Leo suddenly. Her mouth drooped with grievance, and her eyes were full of tears. She didn't want to leave. So I acted like a good guy. Let's go together. It's not easy to get a ride here. Leo frowned and said to Diana seriously, "Are you still not leaving?" Diana was frightened and took 2 steps back. I also sank my face. I said, "Let's go together." Diana was also quite interested. In this situation, most people would have fled. She actually followed. I walked in front. Leo was behind me. And she followed behind Leo. Leo opened the passenger door and wanted to get in. I stopped him. If there is something, go to the back. It's not good to let the little girl sit alone. Leo looked at me, expressionless, with surging emotions suppressed in his eyes. He snorted and laughed, slammed the car door, and got on the back seat. The atmosphere in the car was really depressing and I broke the silence. "Miss Tao, Leo and I have something to talk about. Do you want to come with us? Or should I take you back to school first?" Diana was a little at a loss when her name was suddenly called. I, Leo suddenly said, "What do you want to do?" I glanced at Leo through the rearview mirror. His expression was already very impatient. He was angry and he was suppressing his anger. But I felt happy. So the smile on my face gradually expanded. What major is Miss Dao studying? German. I was a little surprised. Same as me. I have a classmate who is a teacher in your school. I said an aim and asked her. Do you know her? Diana's face changed. And her tone was weak. Yes. She is my head teacher. I laughed out loud. That's a coincidence. Diana was finally sent back to school by me. When she got off the car and left, she walked hurriedly without looking back. I asked Leo, where is the house you rented near here? Let's go up and sit down. Leo's eyes were always on me. He gritted his teeth and said word by word. What do you want to do? I restrained the expression on my face. I disgusted you all the way. Now, let's talk about divorce. 10 We didn't go to the rental house in the end. We were in the car. Leo lit a cigarette. Silence. From the time I talked about divorce until now. He kept silent. I was silent too. The deliberate disgust along the way. Now a little boring. While I disgusted him. Wasn't I disgusting myself? I took out a cigarette from my bag and lit it. How long? Leo's voice was a little hoarse. What? How long have you been smoking? I am 5 years older than Leo. When he was still in college, I had already started working. At that time, I had just started working and was under a lot of pressure. I got addicted to smoking. It was Leo who forced me to quit. He said, it's not good for your health. He said, if you can't do it, just beat me up. Don't smoke anymore. Later, I really quit smoking and never smoked again. It's been 7 or 8 years now. But because of this incident, I relapsed. If you want to ask about the specific time, I thought about it and said, the day after you didn't come back from Diana's place all night. Leo's hand trembled. The unburned cigarette, but fell on the leather seat, and instantly burned a hole in the leather. Leo hurriedly swept it away with his hand, but it was useless. But he still stubbornly wanted to smooth it out, again and again, with more and more strength. Finally, he lost control of his emotions and completely exploded, kicking the car door. Fuck, he said. I can't save it. And you won't forgive me, right? Yeah. He smiled sarcastically and stretched out his hand to me. Divorce agreement. He didn't read what was written on it. He turned to the last page and signed his name. I won't go back to that house. I will find time to clear the things away. After saying that, he got out of the car happily. Holding the car door, he said to the other end of the phone, come out. Don't stay at the school tonight. Well, I'll wait for you at the school gate. After hanging up the phone, he raised his eyebrows at me. When you want to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau, contact me. 11 Do you feel like a fist hitting cotton? Frustrated and uncomfortable? He did it on purpose. I pulled the corner of my mouth and drank the wine in the glass, in one gulp. I know, maybe I didn't react at first, but, by this time, I had already tasted it. His attitude towards people and things is, I'm not wrong. Even if I'm wrong, what can you do to me? I understand him. I also expected how he would react to me. But even though I was prepared, I was still stimulated by his understatement. My hand holding the wine glass was shaking a little. I thought I could at least get an apology. We always hope to get the sincere repentance of the offender, as if only in this way can our injuries be soothed. Otherwise, I will not be reconciled. From the age of 18 to 28, 10 years. That was also my decade. I went from being on the sidelines to being deeply involved. He pulled me in. When he loved me, he gave me honey. If he didn't love me anymore, he would cut me into pieces. He should have said sorry to me. The repeated grinding of negative emotions made me a little out of control. I asked for 2 days off. I stayed at home and didn't go anywhere. I cried, cursed, and collapsed. In the end, I calmed down. Because of a call from the boss. He said that the data in the contract had been adjusted. And then he quickly modified it. I turned on the computer and got to work. 2 hours later, I sent the new contract. Mr. Zhang will come over next Wednesday. You go with me. Okay. After finishing all this, I sat back on the sofa and suddenly felt a little confused. Is it really that sad? Leo is my own choice. No one forced me. No one threatened me. So everything that happened later, I should be responsible for my own gains and losses. I can afford to gamble. So I should be able to lose. So Sylvia, can't you afford to lose? No. I can afford to lose. 12 On the fourth day after signing the divorce agreement, I called Leo. He answered very slowly. His tone was dull. What's up? I said. Hun. Are you free tomorrow? Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. There was a pause on the other end of the phone for a few seconds. I'm on a business trip. Let's talk when I get back. How many days? Uncertain. Leo. I emphasized. I need a time. You have to give me a time. I said it's uncertain. Leo's voice rose, with a hint of impatience. I have signed the divorce agreement. Are you still afraid that I will run away? 2 days. What? I said. I will only give you 2 days. As long as you show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau the day after tomorrow, I will give you a little dignity. Otherwise, I will tell your relatives and friends about your cheating. The moment I finished speaking, the phone was hung up. I can imagine Leo's rage. He would even throw the phone in his hand away. I don't care whether he is really busy or making excuses. I only care about whether my goal can be achieved as soon as possible. But what surprised me was that Leo came to my house the next night. Why are you here? I have something to ask you. What is it? Leo looked at me and suddenly snorted and laughed. Am I not even qualified to enter the door now? His sarcasm made me frown. What do you want to say? Leo's face sank. Sylvia, you passed. No matter what, this is a matter between us. You shouldn't embarrass a little girl. What did you say? Don't admit it? Leo's eyebrows were full of sarcasm. You dare to say that Diana's scholarship cancellation has nothing to do with you. Diana? Who? A deep voice suddenly sounded. Leo was shocked. Brother? Ryan walked out slowly from behind me, and he looked at Leo expressionlessly. Who is Diana? Leo looked at me and then at him. Why are you here? I asked you. Who is Diana? It's none of your business. Do you want to tell me yourself? Or do I have to check? Leo's lips were pressed into a straight line, but he stubbornly refused to speak. I had a headache. Okay, go in first. I'll tell him. Ryan wanted to say something, but I interrupted him. This is between me and Leo. Don't mind it. After a long confrontation, Ryan finally retreated back to the room. Looking at Leo, I let out a breath of foul air. I don't know about Diana. If you use your brain, you shouldn't come to me. If I really want to mess with her, I can get her to drop out of school with the photos of your pleasure and the evidence of your support. Leo, I just want a divorce. Not trouble. You? Cheating? Support? Divorce? You cheated? You want a divorce? I looked at Ryan's speechless lie. Can you stop eavesdropping? Ryan ignored me, and he looked at Leo with a heavy look. Ace turned shout. Speak up. This is between her and me. None of your business. Oh, none of my business? As soon as the words fell, Ryan punched Leo in the face. Asshole. Leo has never been one to stand and take a beating. Even if he was in the wrong, he could still punch back. Looking at the two people fighting, I closed the door expressionlessly. Later, I didn't know when they stopped fighting or when they left. The next day, I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau on time at 8 o'clock, took a number, and waited for Leo. Only about 10 minutes later, Leo appeared. He sat down beside me without saying a word, with a wound on his face and a dejected look. Not long after, our number was called. I stood up, but Leo suddenly grabbed my wrist. His voice was hoarse. I lied to you that day. I didn't go to see her. I've broken up with her. She called me and said her scholarship was cancelled. I knew it wasn't you. I was just suddenly very happy that I finally had a reason to go to you. I didn't think about divorce. I never thought about divorcing you. Oh, so what? Say those B words to the heroine. The condescending attitude can't even say sorry? And you say you don't want to divorce? Who do you think you are? Who spoils you? You are really, really worthy of people who eat and take. Hurry up and die. Hot comments. More strong comments. Leo's voice became lower and lower, and even choked. I have never been able to stand Leo crying. I agreed to be with him because he was red-eyed with me. But at this time, Leo, you cry so much that I feel a little sick. Leo tightened his grip on my hand. He hesitated for a long time and spoke in a daze. What did you say? I broke away from him, tore up the paper in my hand, and took a new number. In fact, we haven't sat down and talked about it properly since the incident happened. You didn't ask me how I knew you cheated. Nor did you ask me what I learned. Let's review the whole process. Since half a year ago, our married life has not been harmonious. You were depressed and met Diana when you were drunk. Maybe because she looked 30 like me. Or maybe because she was younger and more energetic. You couldn't help but cheat. Cheating is always wrong. In order to excuse yourself, you found fault with me. You said that since I was over 30, you felt that I was a little dirty. Because of the fine lines on my face. Because I was no longer plump. And you said I was like a withered flower. And you could smell the odor from a long distance. Leo, when you used those harsh words to describe me, do you know how disgusting you are in my eyes? I began to doubt myself. How blind I was to step on a pile of dog shit. The dog shit stuck to my shoes. But it still complained that my shoes were smelly. My ruthless words tore apart the last dignity of each other. The divorce process was smooth. There was no entanglement, no quarrel. The staff reminded us to come to get the certificate in a month. I nodded. Leo had already stood up and left. I called him. When are you going to pack your things? He didn't even turn his head. Throw them away. Throwing them away is definitely impossible. In the end, all the things that belonged to him were packed away by Ryan. After packing up, he cooked a meal himself and opened a bottle of wine. Have a drink? I didn't refuse. Ryan drank a little too quickly. After drinking a glass of wine, he pulled the corner of his mouth and said, I really didn't know that Leo had such thoughts about you at the beginning. If I knew. I shook my head with a smile. Cut off our bad fate from the source? Such regret is meaningless. At the beginning, both families did not agree that we were together. I still remember Leo said, I don't know if I will regret it in the future after being with her. I only know that if I don't be with her now, I will definitely regret it. Are you with him because of this sentence? I shook my head. No. It's just that I thought so at the beginning. I supported my chin and shook the winglass. Actually, when I think about it, I was much braver when I was in my 20s than I am now. At that time, I dared to date a boy who was 5 years younger than me, but I don't dare to do that now. I'm not even sure if I will start the next one. Sylvia. Ryan looked at me with a complicated look, with guilt, heartache, and something I couldn't understand. I smiled at him with relief. Don't worry about me. I just suddenly figured it out. Love is something that comes with a bang and goes with a bang. What others give you is always short-lived. But it doesn't matter. In this world, you will die if you are sick or have no money. But I have never heard of dying without love. I might have been a little drunk. Besides, the person opposite was my old friend Ryan. So I talked a lot. Ryan kept listening in silence and didn't say another word. When I woke up from the bed the next day, Ryan was gone. He left me a note. He said he was catching a plane and would not wait for me. He said he met a nice girl and planned to be with her after he returned. He said, Sylvia, take care. I quickly gathered back his scattered thoughts due to the divorce. The busy work left me no extra time to feel sorry for myself. This also soothed my mood to a great extent. I haven't thought about Leo for a long time. Until Ethan called me. Sylvia, I know I shouldn't contact you, but Leo has been hospitalized twice for alcohol poisoning in the past half-month. And I can't stop him. Now only you can persuade him. Sylvia, Leo knows he's wrong. Ethan probably didn't expect him to persuade me. So when he saw me in the hospital, he was stunned, stood up hurriedly, and gave me his seat. You guys chat. I'm going out to smoke a cigarette. I looked at him disapprovingly. You haven't quit smoking yet. Isn't Wendy pregnant? Ethan's face froze. A little unnatural. He raised his hand, and walked away without looking back. This man is not a good bird either. Birds of a feather flock together. Disgusting. More bullets. I turned around and found Leo staring at me in a daze. Meeting my eyes, he hastily moved away. Leo, I just started. And he interrupted eagerly. He said, my arm hurts. My left arm. And it hurts especially when it rains. That year, we didn't see each other for half a year. I told you that my father had put me in solitary confinement, but in fact, I was in the hospital and my father broke my arm. I didn't tell you because I was afraid you would worry. Then why are you telling me now? Leo looked up and looked at me cautiously. I pulled the corner of my mouth. Actually, it's inappropriate for you to say this now. If you told me at the beginning, I would feel very distressed and think that you were paying for me. But now, Leo, that was your own decision, your own sacrifice to be with the person you love. And you should bear the consequences yourself. Just like me. The person I chose cheated on me. And I should bear the consequences myself. The hopeful light in Leo's eyes gradually dimmed. He turned his face away. Since you are not willing to give me even a chance, what are you doing here? I lowered my eyes and looked at him. I came here to tell you not to kill yourself. And not to delay my marriage certificate in half a month. Leo, I just want a divorce. Not a widower. Leo growled. Do you hate me so much? I didn't even turn my head. If you were in my place, you would have wanted to kill me. 15. I left without hesitation. Ethan had a headache. I've called someone over for you. Can't you put down your dignity and talk to him nicely? Leo said coldly. None of your business. Even if I die in the future, you don't have to call him again. Ethan was helpless. In the future? There is no future. If you really want to save the relationship, why are you so angry? In fact, I just don't understand. You have always been stable when facing other people and things. Why are you like a child who hasn't grown up in front of Sylvia? Leo turned his head to the window and stopped talking. He didn't know. He wanted to talk nicely. And he also wanted to bow his head. But when facing Sylvia, he felt wronged inexplicably. It was obviously his fault. But he just felt wronged. It was as if Sylvia had to tolerate him without asking for anything in return or gain or loss. Leo was panicking. He had been in a panic since he saw Sylvia at the airport. He was eager to do something. He was disheartened, knowing that nothing he did would help. Sylvia would not forgive him. Cheating on Diana was a mistake. When you make a mistake, you want to cover it up. So when Ethan pointed it out, he was a little angry. So he said something sarcastic. Leo regretted it, after he said it. He repeatedly warned Ethan not to spread his words. Otherwise, they would not be friends anymore. He was even a little afraid to face Sylvia. Shame? Ashamed. Leo knew that it was reasonable for this broken relationship to be abandoned. But he was panicking. Diana came to him, more than once. She cried and said that Sylvia bullied her. I received a court summons, asking me to return the money you gave me. You gave me all those things. Why should she go back? Leo, are you going to let her bully me like this? Leo found it funny after hearing this. In fact, Sylvia has always been like this, vindictive and vengeful. If Diana hadn't falsely accused her, she might not have thought of asking for the money back. Just like Sylvia said, if she really wanted to get Diana, she could let Diana drop out of school. Diana still wanted to be with Leo. She thought that since Leo was going to divorce, she could naturally become a regular employee. But she didn't know. Leo could be with anyone except her. She was a witness to Leo's decadent life and absurd past. She was a stain just like the wrong things Leo did. No one would keep a stain around them. Diana had already spent all the money and didn't return it. It was Leo who filled the hole. He told Diana not to come to him again. Otherwise he would also ask for the debt. Diana left angrily. Before leaving, she slapped him and called him hypocritical. Leo took it. No matter the slap or the scolding. After being discharged from the hospital, Leo devoted all his body and soul to work. He numbed himself with these. Until the day of death penalty. He did not delay. Nor did he regret. And obediently followed Sylvia to get the certificate. Sylvia was in good condition and was still confident and outspoken. Leo watched her leave. She suddenly turned around. Leo, apologize to me. Leo's hands in his pockets were shaking. He opened his mouth, but he could not spit out those 3 words. Sylvia was a little disappointed and turned away. Leo took a step forward. Sylvia, I'm sorry. Sylvia stopped. She raised her hand and waved, striding forward. This time her back seemed lighter,